Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2020 Formula 2 World Tour Season 4, the round in Brazil, the 9th round out of 10 in the championship, the penultimate round if you will. So this one we have a decent lead in the championship at the moment, we'll get to that soon, but in qualifying, heading on to our very first flying lap, Nicholas Latifi tries to make a move around the outside as we were a little bit slow on the main straight, and we had to try and defend from him. He now tries to go around the outside of turn 2 as well, as he got a switchback there, and that's already ruined our first flying lap. So we move on as we have a look at the replay, and you'll see there the switchback that he got as we were going in deep to defend from him and try and get a lap together. Yeah, he was able to get alongside it once again. But anyway, now we move on to our second flying lap, and we touch the grass there on the run into the first corner, so we still don't get a nice run through the center S, but nonetheless we are gaining time on our previous lap. But yeah, not an ideal start to qualifying because our tyres have already taken a hit on the first lap, and now on this second one they're not going to be not going to be as good, so we will just need to try and get the best lap in that we can on this one, otherwise we'll be in big trouble in terms of our grid position. So we're not really getting away from Latifi through the opening phase of the lap, so that's not great. It means we're not going maybe as fast as we should be here, and we need to pick up the pace if we want to start anywhere other than last at the moment. So we are gaining quite a significant amount of time though on our previous lap, so that is good to know, as we have a lot of grass on the way into the final meaningful corner on the track, and now it's flat out all the way to the finish line to see where this lap puts us relative to everyone else who has set lap times so far. We come across the line and we move from 7th to 5th, so that is a decent improvement, but we could definitely do better with less mistake. We already gain a whole chunk of time through the center S. Just getting through there in a reasonable fashion still could be better, but that is a much better start to the lap. We move on though to the end of the second sector and make a very weird mistake there, and that ruins that lap for us. So we continue on then, and the next lap we run out of fuel at the same corner. So yeah, that is the end of qualifying for us. We weren't able to improve on that second lap that we did, so that's really unfortunate because we definitely had another half a second or so in it, or at least about 4/10 given the tyre wear. So that's a really frustrating one that we couldn't improve on our initial time.
Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap.
Well, our initial time that wasn't interrupted by Latifi, but yeah, we didn't get a clean lap in unfortunately, and that's going to mean we're going to start down the order in 11th position at best. These tyres have done a lot of laps now, and they're not going to be any good to improve on our time. We could potentially use our sprint race tyres. You're allowed to use those in qualifying it seems, but I don't really want to compromise the end of the weekend just for a better grid position now. I'd rather try and make it up in the feature race and try and get reverse grid pole. So that is the target, and yeah, that is what we're going to go with. So we'll move on now to the end of the session and see how bad things really are.
We wind down from the excitement of qualifying. Here's a look at your top three: Hubert, Alesi, and Nikita Mazepin. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action, and until then, goodbye.
So thankfully things don't get any worse for us. There is the championship picture, and you can see we still have a very chunky lead over Jordan King and Haru Matsushita, our main rivals in this one. Matsushita, of course he's one of our rivals, he's always there, but in this race he's only one position ahead of us, so that's one good thing heading into this one. But let's get to the start.
It's finally here, the day we've all been waiting in anticipation for, race day. The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache circuit has been home to many exciting events in motorsport history, and I have no doubt today will be just as memorable. This high-altitude anti-clockwise circuit is made up of just 15 corners and offers plenty of DRS opportunities, but not as much opportunity to overtake as you would expect. The circuit is known for its very technical Sector 2, which is sandwiched between the circuit's two long straights, the latter of which is considered to be one of the longest full-throttled stretches you'll find. So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's results with a look at the starting grid. Antoine Hubert has a good view of turn 1 from his pole position slot. And starting alongside in P2 is Giuliano Alesi. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Mazepin, AITKEN, Sean Galeo, and Boccolacci, Delatraz, De Vries, Sete Camara, Nobuharu Matsushita, Zhou, King, Luca Giotto, and Schumacher. Latifi, Correa, ILOTT, and Ralph Boschart, Raghunathan, and Tatiana Calderon completes the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So here we are on the grid then for the feature race here in Brazil, and we're going to start further down the order than we originally anticipated. We have a grid penalty, and I'll be honest, I don't know entirely what that's for. We obviously did something in qualifying that didn't impress the stewards, so we're starting further down the order. No rain to interfere, so it's just the standard Formula 2 strategy of flat out race as we go to the 5 red lights, and away we go then as we get a lot of wheel spin off the line, but a decent start nonetheless as Latifi tries to cover us off. We're going to go down the inside of a few cars here into the first corner, contact there, and that's damaged our front wing immediately at the start of this one as we had a bump there. With the back of the entire field ahead bunching up, and that's going to be quite painful for us as we need to limp around with this damage in the opening phases, but we catch up to a lot to Guanyu ZHOU just with the field spread there, as that is Sete Camara going a little bit wide, I believe up there, but as we have a good exit here, we're going to actually try and make a move down the inside of Guanyu ZHOU, and Sete Camara contact there, and we've spun off the inside of Sete Camara, and that's more damage to our front wing, and that drops us to the back of the field at the start of this one, and that is the opposite of what we needed. Going aggressive at the starts worked for us in the past, but not here today, and we have a lot of damage that we need to contend with. It's recommended that we stop, but I don't want to do a 2-stop. That's just going to use up all our tyres for the weekend, so if I can limp around with this damage, even if we are horrendously slow in this feature race, at least we'll have a fresh set of tyres for the sprint race, and that can be our focus. But again, we've got damage, but it's not horrible. It's not as bad as I thought it might be, and we are able to limp around with it and live with it without losing a horrible amount of time when we come into the pits on lap 6 as early as we are legally allowed to in this race, and we are going to get that front wing change. It's going to cost us an extra 9 or 10 seconds in the pit stop, but it is well worth it to get to all that downforce back that we were missing. New tyres on the car as well, of course, the mediums that will take us to the end of the race, and they should get us there easily enough. So out of pits we go then, and we just need to push absolutely flat out in this one, and see if we can
Only one stop to go. One stop left in this strategy.
See if we can make anything of this race at all, as we are very careful on the pit exit. This is such a narrow pit exit. They take rather quickly, so it's easy to bump one of the walls and damage the front wing immediately after getting it changed, but thankfully we don't do that. But up ahead, Callum ILOTT, for the millionth time in this series, sacrifices himself with a mechanical failure to benefit us, because that brings out the safety car, which we take the long way around there on the run into turn 4, and get past him as he awaits the leader. But that's closed up the field and allowed me to catch right back up and get into this race once again. And what's interesting is a few cars, I think about 8 cars, decided as we have a big lose at the back end there through the first few corners. Tyres not up to temperature after that safety car, but about 8 or so cars as we weave to get some tyre temperature back, pit under that safety car. The last of those is the car directly ahead of us, Boccolacci. The rest still need to make another stop, so that is going to be interesting to see how the cars with fresh tyres now, as you can see a few pitting on the left hand side back there, it'll be interesting to see if they can actually make up the time on fresher tyres versus these guys and myself, who are on much older ones. But we have decent paces. We have another loss to the back end there on the inside curb, and almost losing the whole car, but thankfully not. And we have another big lose there, so yeah, we're really pushing, and the car is just not taking it at the moment. These tyres not as grippy as the softs, and I think I'm just trying to drive the way I was before, and these tyres are just not really up for it, so I'm going to need to tone things back a bit, and I think I'll find a lot more pace. So we'll be aiming for that, but the rest of the field that need to make a stop have now done so, and it is now a flat-out race to the end, and if we can get our act together, we will catch up to Boccolaci, which we now do, as we have a little look up the inside into the final meaningful corner on the circuit, and we get through on the Frenchman and make our way up into 8th position in this one.
You made it look easy.
So that has got us up into reverse grid pole as things stand. Ignore the quarter pit, we are just not going to do that, but running a tiny bit wide out of the final meaningful corner, and now Dorian Boccolaci gets back past us along the straight. DRS for us though, for the both of us, as we head down towards the first corner of the center S. Once again, Boccolaci is going to try and cover us off. We're late on the brakes, we have to take some evasive action there, as we were always going to slam into the back of him, and we've gone all the way out into the middle of nowhere in this track, in corners of the circuit that people have never even seen before. We have just explored, but that's cost us a bunch of time, and that was just avoiding action because I saw that the collision with Boccolaci there, as we were just later on the brakes than I would have liked to have been. I just decided to take that course and yeah, just not risk more damage to the front wing, but that was quite an adventure off circuit there. But now we have caught up to Boccolaci once again in this one, and we've got a decent run here with the DRS. To the inside we go. Boccolaci covers all the way to the inside. We switch back to the outside as we head down towards turn 4, and we will give a bit of a squeeze towards the inside. A little bit caught up on the curb there on the outside, and that's unsettled the car. Lost us a bit of time, and Boccolaci is back through and up into 8th position. We continue on to the very end of the race, the last lap now, as we have a look down the inside. Boccolaci locks up as we get a big old squeeze there, a bit of contact with the back of Boccolaci, and we're not able to do anything there. So if we can get a good run here though, we might be able to make another move towards turn 4. So here we go then. We're going to have to be super late on the brakes, but we're not close enough. Boccolaci with the lock-up though, we get very close to the back of him, and again we have to take a slight amount of avoiding action. Meanwhile, Boccolaci's teammate is in the lead, and Jack Aitken will come across the line to take the win here for the feature race in Brazil. A great drive by the Anglo-Korean, but for us this isn't quite over. We've still got the run to the finish line to try and get past Dorian Boccolaci. So here we go then, trying to stay as close as we can through the final meaningful corner in the slipstream then of the Frenchman. We've got a good run here. We might be able to do this, but we actually might be too close. We try and have a little look to the outside, but there's no room there. DRS for the both of us once again, and it's just going to save Boccolaci there as we come across the line, just a few meters behind him. And we miss out on reverse grid pole by a fraction of a second, but we do get the driver of the day, for what that's worth.
Brilliant stuff from Campos today. What a superb victory. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
The difference was in the strategy. Credit to the driver for sure, but races like this really drive home how much of a team sport this is. They did a lot of work on the pit wall to really make the most of each stint and to make the best use of the tires. But that said, all of that would have been for nothing without a talented hand on the wheel.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Campos have come a really long way in this sport, and what a special race this was to see them earn the top spot.
So it is Jack Aitken who takes the race win here today. His Renault Academy stablemate Antoine Hubert finishes in 2nd position, with Nikita Mazepin in 3rd.
Round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the driver's table. The lead at the top has come down after a poor result for our points leader. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Alex, I choose Juan Manuel Correa. just impressed me in the overtakes maneuver, so well done to him.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Teams Championship. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Arden's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
So there we have it, the end of the feature race here in Brazil, and it was a terrible race, honestly. A good recovery, to be honest, to get back into the fight, I suppose, but with their older tyres, it was always a struggle to try and get past the cars. We definitely could have beaten Vocolaci. That was just a bit of bad driving on my part that we couldn't get that done and couldn't get reverse grid pole, but we definitely had the pace to pass him. But with the DRS, when he had DRS as well, it was very, very difficult to stay competitive in a straight line. So yeah, that was a very frustrating one on that front, but in the sprint race it should be a much more straightforward fight for us, and we should be able to get our way through the field a little bit better. I should hope. We want to make some moves early in that race before the DRS is activated, and hopefully that will help us out. But yeah, other than that though, 2 points for our championship fights. So starting 11th, finishing 9th, or starting 16th actually, after the grid penalty, and then finishing 9th. It's not a bad day, but yeah, it's certainly we really missed out on an opportunity to get reverse grid pole. That's what's most frustrating about that one. But yeah, realistically, all the positions we gained, to be honest, were just everyone else with a bad strategy. And well, we didn't necessarily have a good one. We just kind of lucked into it with the safety car coming out. If it wasn't for that safety car, we could be looking at an even worse result. So I can't complain too much. We got very lucky to even get into the top 10. So yeah, it's now about just trying to maximize the sprint race and getting more points in that one. So let's just shift our attention to that, and yeah, hope that we can get another good result there. Let's go.
And we're back. After yesterday's feature race, the top 8 drivers have been reversed on the grid, setting up some exciting action as we launch into today's event, the sprint race. In the commentary box for the big race today, I'm Alex Jakes, and joining me once again, it's Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as well as being the 2012 GP2 champion, you also have experience as a test driver in F1. What would you say are the biggest differences for people fresh to the world of F2?
Well, Alex, I think it's an exciting time in Formula 2 right now. For spectators, a lot of excitement comes from all the drivers being in the same car. That puts the emphasis on driver skills, meaning lots of overtakes, which means exciting race for us.
So here we are on the grid then for the sprint race here in Brazil, and it's going to be the usual no stop, no weather to interfere, so let's just get into it as we now go to the 5 red lights. And away we go then for the sprint race here in Brazil. A lot of wheel spin for us off the line, and we just cannot get going here. And we're going to lose a whole bunch of positions with a bad getaway. We try and make some back into the first corner, but we've got nowhere to go. And we're just getting our ears boxed here as we're trying to make them any moves we can through the first corner. We just can't get any. And we're now overtaken by Louis Delatraz, a teammate of one of our title rivals. We get him back along the Retroposta, but heading down towards turn 4, we're going to make an almighty dive bomb down the inside of Sergio Sete Camera and Sean Galale. Bit of contact made on the apex there as we were very, very aggressive in making that move, and we get back up into our starting position after losing 3 places through the first few corners. We get them all back by the time we enter turn 5, so that is a great little mini comeback there, we could say, but now we need to try and keep that going and try and keep these overtakes coming and try and get back into the points in this one more than anything else. So as we try and get a nice run here on Antoine Hubert, who was on the podium last time out, stuck in traffic here. We are going to try and make a move. No, not close enough to make a move into the final meaningful corner, but a good exit here. We might be able to do something along the main straight, unlike what we weren't able to do with Boccalacci, but not close enough there. We had to back out of it there with Hubert. But as we continue on with DRS now enabled, and hopefully this will help us rather than hinder us, but only time will tell. But a decent exit here, looking through towards the reservoir Boston Straight. We will have the DRS on Hubert with a bit of slipstream as well. We might be just about close enough here to make a move down the inside, and we will get the move done. But Hubert with a nice switchback, he's back on the inside line there as we head through the next corner. But we should have the inside line for the next right-hander and get the move done here, and we do just that and maintain 8th position. And now we're up into the points, running a little bit wide there as we continue through this race, and the safety car is out, and that is for Mick Schumacher, who retires from the race with a mechanical issue with that car, and he pulls off the road out of the way, and the safety car is called. But as we get going then, after the safety car, we actually got a pretty bad restart there, and we're not really with the group ahead, and we are going to be looking behind us as we are struggling once again on the safety car restart. So the tyre warm up in this round has not been our friend, but eventually we will start to make the overtakes once again down the inside, and making the overtake move stick on Nikita Mazepin. A bit aggressive there as we are really on the defensive heading towards the next corner, but we make sure we stay ahead of Nikita Mazepin and cover him off by the time we get there. Next up is the Campos of Jack Aitken, who was the winner in the feature race, already making some good gains through the field in this one, and we'll see if we can spoil the party for him as we head towards the first corner. Once again, we're going to take the inside line here as we set the fastest lap down the inside of Jack Aitken, a little bit deep into the corner, but Aitken sees us coming, leaves us the room, and we're able to get through. A bit of a fishtail on the exit, and Aitken is straight back through as we were caught up on the curb there, and that is has immediately cost us that position. We will get him back though as he defends. We go around the outside, and we'll just about make this move stick through LATIFI ZHOU, and we get back ahead. I definitely butchered the name of that corner, but we're going to roll with it and stick with this take as we get ahead of Jack Aitken, and he's going to try and come back at us here though as we head down towards the first corner. He's in the slipstream, but I don't think he'll quite get close enough, and indeed we are just fine. But next up is Lacey in the Trident, and we're going to make a nice sneaky move here down the inside, and we'll get the move done on Giuliano Lacey. That was a nice one there. And next up is one of our title rivals, Nobuharu Matsushita, and that is going to be very, very good for our championship fight if we can get past him. But another mistake there into this right-hander, just touching the grass, left-hander rather, touching the grass on the right-hand side and sending us straight off the road, and that cost us a bunch of time. So we need to stop getting on the grass there on the entry to turn 1, because it is nasty, but the road sort of narrows up there, and it's very easy to do. But anyway, as we continue on, a decent exit out of the final real corner, and we're running side by side and getting ahead of Nobuharu Matsushita along the main straight, and we cover him off along the run to the first corner and make that move stick. Next up is Guanyu ZHOU, Dorian Boccalacci, then Guanyu ZHOU. Ahead of him, Jordan King, I think, is the race leader, so our main title rival is in the lead, and we need to close up to him if we want any chance of preventing him from increasing the points gap. But anyway, we go for a big send on Dorian Boccalacci, and we make that move stick. Very aggressive there, and I think that actually damaged the front wing of Boccalacci, so that's unfortunate for him. But anyway, we make a similar move on Guanyu ZHOU, but we were a bit deep at that time, and Zhou gets a switch back as he is able to get the car turned back to the left and makes that move stick ahead of us. But we're going to see if we can make the move in the same way we did to Lacey on Guanyu ZHOU, up the inside, and we'll sneak through. And Lacey, Zhou rather, I'm confusing myself with the names, Zhou back around the outside, but we'll hold him off and make sure we maintain that position. Here's the replay down the inside of Guanyu ZHOU, and Zhou with the switchback, but not able to make the move stick around the outside there, as we were always going to have the racing line. But now we have caught up to the leader, Jordan King. We have a look up the inside as we get a big old squeeze, and that was a very late move. That was never really going to work, and that was a bit aggressive. Contact made, but no damage done, so that is very, very lucky for us that Jordan King did. Oop. Okay, our radio is broken, but anyway, yeah, Jordan King did not see us coming, but that's fair enough. That was a very, very late move to be trying to make there, but we'll try again.
You're in second place.
As we are in second position now, but we go down the inside and once again make a move in this last real corner on the circuit. King with a little look back to the inside, and he's got a decent run here, and as we head towards the first corner, King's going to get back down the inside. We're going to try and hold around the outside, but King's not left us much space there either, and we run off circuit just like in the first race and earlier on in this one. We've lost a bunch of positions this time though, and that's going to cost us so much time there, and we're back down and into 4th position behind Matsushita. But there's the replay. You can see we were trying to make the move around the outside of King, but he did not leave us much space to work with, and we just let Matsushita through to not cause any collisions with him. But we immediately try and get back around the outside and make the move on Nobuharu Matsushita, and make the move stick against him back up into 3rd position immediately. So starting the fight back already, and next up is Guanyu ZHOU. We go for the move, and that is very deep on the brakes, but ZHOU gets a good switchback, and we're going to be side by side as we head towards the end of the 2nd sector. But ZHOU is not going to be able to hold it around the outside there, and we will hold 2nd position now. But Jordan King, 2nd in the championship, still leading this race, so we need to try and chase him down. We do so as we exit turn 3 with the DRS open. We're going to see if we can make a move here. We've got a good run as we have a look to the inside. King defends. We switch to the outside last moment. King is very late on the brakes, so runs a little bit deep. We make contact off circuit for us, caught up on the curb. More contact with King as our front wing is now damaged, sliding across the runoff. We can't save it, and we go into the wall, and we are out of the sprint race here in Brazil. As Jeff is trying his best to talk over me there, we are out.
Well, that may not have been the finest race in history, but there's no question that was a critical win. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Wow. Well, there's no doubt that the race was impacted as soon as the safety car made an appearance. It was so important how the successful team today react to this situation. They were decisive and stuck to their strategy, which really helped them take an advantage.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be MP Motorsport picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
So it is Jordan King who takes the race win here today. Nobuharu Matsushita finishes in 2nd position with Guanyu ZHOU in 3rd.
Then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. The gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race for our championship leader. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
Oh, there's a lot of options, but my instinct says Nick De Vries, and looking down the field, no one really jumps out at me to change my mind. Very difficult, but I'll say Jordan King. He's cool under pressure, and he made the most of a difficult race today. The official driver of the day also did a fantastic job, but I have to vote with my heart, and today I have to go in a different direction.
On to the teams then. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. After all this drama, you'll be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you there. Take care.
So let's have a little review, I suppose, of what's happened in that incident. Here's the replay from off board. Tried to go around the outside. King ran a little bit wide himself, missed the sort of first apex of that corner, and we just made contact, and the rest was sort of out of my control. We ran us out wide over the curb, and we just lost the back end, and after that we made more contacts, and after that I had no control. Was just a passenger, as they say. and yeah, just couldn't do anything about it. You can see there Jordan King just running just slightly deep, and that caused the initial contact, and yeah, from that point on lost the back end, and yeah, that second contact with King is what really, I guess, set us on a collision course with the barrier. And yeah, you can hear, you know, I was trying to avoid the collision, trying to, you know, accelerate, brake, turn, left or right. Nothing was really changing the course of the car, unfortunately. And you can see the onboards from the different perspectives here. And yeah, that's not a great way to end, unfortunately, our sprint race here. But unfortunately, that's just the way things have played out here. So there's the end results of the race. We do beat Mick Schumacher for what that's worth. But yeah, terrible weekend for the team though. Just 2 points with ILOTT DNFing the first one and a bad position in the second one as well. So yeah, that's really frustrating. But oh well. We are still in the championship lead over Jordan King with Matsushita in third, but we still have a lot of work to do now in the final round if we want to win this championship. We just made things a lot more difficult than they needed to be. We're going to need a good result in the feature race, but I mean, equally so if you're looking at it from the perspective of King or Matsushita, they'll need to more or less win the feature race to have any chance. So you know, at the very least we've got that to bank on, because if they don't win, if neither of them win the feature race in the final round in France, then we could still be looking in good shape. But they have both been very, very strong all season, so it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Hope you join me for the final round, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.